Welcome to today's presentation. I'm Jimmy Atkinson, founder of the Opportunity Zones database and host of the Opportunity Zones podcast. And today I'm joined by Dennis Randall. Dennis is co-founder and president at Acquity Realty, a development firm that focuses specifically on mixed-use multifamily office in Silicon Valley. Dennis is going to spend a few minutes today walking us through an Opportunity Zone development that he has in the works in San Jose. Dennis, hello, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you, Jimmy. Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here, Dennis. So to get us started, we're focusing on Silicon Valley. Why Silicon Valley? Can you walk us through some of the macroeconomic trends of the area that you like?
Well, people have been bullish on Silicon Valley for a long time, and Silicon Valley certainly has done very well for itself. This last 18 to 20 months with COVID has definitely laid bare a lot of maybe weaknesses in different economies around the country. And what's kind of funny is that Silicon Valley has proven itself to be as strong as everybody thought it was before COVID started. I think the best analogy that I can give is when you see stocks that have a bad down day, you see some analysts always focusing on stocks that didn't do as poorly as others as a real sign of strength. And I think that that's a great analogy for San Jose. Certainly COVID has hit Silicon Valley. Office absorption slowed down, apartment absorption slowed down, as it did everywhere else in the country. But in the last 5-6 months, we've seen a significant resurgence, more than people predicted. And we've seen strong leasing from major brands like Apple and Google are back in the market, as well as many of those are the majors, and we have the minors that follow them around are showing renewed activity as well. So Silicon Valley is, I think now an icon for technological innovation in our industries in America, and it happens here. And that's why Silicon Valley that's why we're so bullish on it. That's for sure.
So I want to ask you about your particular project, the Carlysle there in downtown San Jose in a minute, but could you walk us through some of the maps you have to present and show us what's happening in and around the greater San Jose area?
Well, would love to. When I'm speaking with investors and analysts, I always like pulling this up because it gives you this the Bay Area here in context. And what I like to point out is a very basic thing. And that is that San Jose is at the base of the entire Bay Area metroplex. San Jose is south of San Francisco going up to the west along the peninsula, and it is south to Oakland along the east side. It is the major thoroughfare for all freight on the Northern California coast. It has the largest train station west of the Mississippi in Diridon Station in downtown San Jose. So it is you can see here with the freeway connector, the freeway connectors here shown in yellow, it is really at the middle of the entire transportation network in the Bay Area and specifically in Silicon Valley. And as I hone in here, you can see that downtown San Jose, which is right here, is directly adjacent to San Jose Airport, which is one of the busiest airports on the West Coast. And so what we're focusing on now is specifically downtown San Jose, where Google is focused its expansion efforts. It's going to be its largest worldwide campus when they're done. They've purchased over 500 million in land. They've invested more than that already in their development plans to build an 80+ acre campus right here, right next to Diridon Station. So that's where we're talking about when we talk about downtown San Jose.
And show us that one with all the other tech companies that are in the surrounding area. I like seeing that context.
Basically right here, this graphic here shows San Jose headquarters. We have the majors here. This is centered on downtown San Jose. We have NASA to the northwest, Google to the north and west, Apple directly to the west, Splunk, Airbnb, Tesla up here to the northeast, Western Digital. I mean, major technology firms that all have significant integration with each other, and dozens and dozens of minor technology firms that all have to be here as well. Silicon Valley, I think the best way to think of it is the campus. You have to have a location here in Silicon Valley to talk to all of your colleagues at different firms to help you integrate your technologies in your own products. So that's why everybody's here. So this gives you a great idea of the different companies that are here. These are just the companies with $100 million net worth, $100 million capitalization, headquarters in and around San Jose. These are all basically bike rides from each other, and you can see all of these. And if people are interested, this is part of our OM, our offering memorandum, so they can get this and look at it at their leisure. So it's nothing proprietary in that regard. This shows you downtown, how it relates to the Google campus that I just mentioned. The Google campus aligns here next to the railway that's shown here in yellow. And they're going to be building 5 million plus square feet and 2,000 plus apartments on this site over the next 10 years. They're moving forward with it right now. We know we have people who work for Google that tell us what they're doing, and they're working diligently on this as well. The other things about downtown San Jose, while I have this slide up here, this little square over here is San Jose State University, which graduates more electrical engineers than Stanford and Cal combined. So you might be, your geniuses might be coming out of Stanford and Cal in their theoretical electronics and physics departments. But the people who are going to be developing your products and working to make things happen are coming out of that company right there, that college right there, San Jose State University. 40 plus thousand students that attend that university right there, also downtown. Santa Clara University just a few miles up the road as well. So when you think of all the drivers of an urban area, employment, education, transportation, it's all here.
That's great. Yeah, it's a confluence of a lot of exciting things happening and a lot of companies coming together at that base of the Silicon Valley, as you mentioned. Let's talk about your project now, the Carlysle. What can you tell us about the property? What makes it different?
Well, it's an answer to a specific problem, and basically a very unique opportunity as well for it as an investment. You know, most projects have binary opportunities. You're either going to lease your office building or you're not. You're either going to lease your apartments or you're not. What we try to do here is to hedge out and get the best of both worlds in one product, which was also a rational solution for the site itself. The site is 0.6 acres. We have a height limit in San Jose because we're so close to the airport. We have basically a limit on how far we can dig down because we have a high water table, and we really need to get as much out of our cubic inches, if you will, that we have available. This site, just because of its location and adjacencies, would have been a perfect office building, 100% office building. But the site wasn't big enough to give the floor plates that large technology users like. They like 45 to 65,000 square foot floor plates. Ours are 30, perfectly fine. The building I built right down the street 20 years ago with another firm has leased just fine. But large technology firms want larger floor plates. So we didn't want to do the whole thing as office. So what do? Well, housing demand is unbelievable here in the Bay Area because of the high cost of housing. And right now on Zillow, I just looked before we got online here. There's only less than 200 listings for houses or condos or townhomes for less than $1 million in a population of 2 million people. So good luck finding that house for less than $1 million. So therefore, rental housing is at a premium, and therefore housing adjacency to work is at a super premium. So by combining these two uses in one location, we get efficiencies. We get to share parking, we get to share foundations, we get to share elevators, we get to share amenities. So that's how we put this together to make it a very strong, hedged and long-term investment. On top of all that is that the investment is in downtown San Jose, which most of which is in a QOZ area. That's why we're speaking. It's a qualified investment zone, and therefore we can take advantage of investors who want to get into a long-term, high-quality investment for tax efficiency purposes as well. So I can show you the asset of what we have. I can pull up our most recent renderings. I think this is our most recent. This shows you in snapshot, I think, how the project is actually engineered. The ground, we do have one level below, which is mostly engineering. We have our lobbies and retail area here on the ground floor. We have 3 levels of mechanical valet parking. It's all going to be a 24/7 valet experience, very high-end experience for parking. And then we have 5 levels of Class A office, which we'll talk about that in a bit, about the niche that it's going to address. And then above that, you can start seeing the higher levels, levels 11 through 21, which are all residential and amenity. We just got these new renderings in. I'm still learning about. I just got them the other day, but this shows you how we have spent a lot of time engineering the most efficient building we can. As you can imagine, it's kind of difficult to get 3 major uses in a building: parking, office, and then residential, all to work together. They all want to have different structural systems. So the reason you see these chevrons going up and down through the office floors is how we migrate our column spacing for optimization for parking through the office floors to optimize them for office. And then we get them realigned for the residential floors above. By doing all this, we get, I think, best-in-class layouts for our residential units and phenomenal layouts for the office floors. The parking, we're able to work around much easily because parking is a little more programmatic. But this is the driver of the design of the building, is efficiencies. Yeah, in every urban environment, I mean, we have another project in construction right now. We built the first rooftop deck that's elevator accessible. It's kind of a new thing for us. So we've got that under construction right now. This, as well as rooftop deck, is part of the amenity core. This has 3, basically we have 3 penthouse levels with amenities on the top 3 floors, where the residents of the top 3 levels get to share those amenities more directly. Of course, all the residents can enjoy them. But it's just a very well designed project. Pool top deck, rooftop pool deck, I should say. And we're having a lot of fun in designing this out.
Yeah, it looks great, Dennis. What about the timeline on this product, and how much do you have left to raise still?
Well, okay, so we actually, as you recall, we were on your website, what, 4 months ago?
About that, yep.
We were looking forward to closing in June. We did. We closed on the land in June. We demoed the building that was on the site quickly thereafter. We were required to do archaeologic and other pre-development work by the city. We've done all that work. We're working towards that. We're looking to finalize our bond financing in December, and then we'll be going vertical from there. So it's now. This project is not still under review. It's still not trying to get its entitlement. It's fully entitled. Right now we're finalizing our building permits, and we're working through those right now. And this is a now project. We have about $5 million in Class A investment left, and we're happy to offer that up again. We're more than happy to come back to you and say, hey guys, you didn't make it the first time, come on back in, and we're more than happy to show you what the project does.
Good. And what else can you tell us about the project and maybe the investment itself? What specific returns are you projecting? If you could share some of your pro forma numbers with us, I think that would be helpful for any investors who are watching today.
All right, let me go to our OM, which has some graphics centered around those very questions.
Sure.
Okay, so here's our in our OM. Here's our opportunity snapshot. Obviously, it's a 10 because it's QOZ. It's a 10-year hold. Our IRRs are driven for a 10-year hold. And if your investors are aware, most investment IRRs are geared for a 3, 4, or 5-year investment hold. And they're typically in the high teens, between 16 to 20%, typically for a shorter term investment. I'm happy to say that ours is 16% for a 10-year hold. So that's a very strong return. And we use 2 metrics by which to gauge that. One, your average, you're going to be because you're into a development, you're going to be making higher rates of return. Part of those years, those first 3, 4 years, don't have cash flow because we're building the building, and then afterward we get significant cash flow thereafter in the return of refinancing. So that all averages out to about a 16.2% IRR. So that's how you judge this investment versus almost any other investment you'll look at on a year-to-year basis overall, because you're taking in all of the externalities into the investment over time. The other metric that we like to point to is we call a multiple. And right here, this shows 2.8x. And basically this basically gives you a way to look at, for every dollar in, how much am I getting back? So you get your dollar back. That's one of the 2.8x. Plus, you're going to get another $1.80. And so that's another way to look at it. So what we've designed is a very advantageous and protected waterfall for the investors. Basically, you get a preferred promote of 8% while we're building it. That accrues to your capital account and becomes part of your return. You get a preferred return of capital on any refinance or sale proceeds. So you get your money back first before we as the sponsor get anything. And then you get a promoted cash flow return. Basically, you're getting over 2 times the cash flow that would otherwise be accrue to you as a percentage share. So you're promoted up 2.25 times. So all of that adds up to a very strong return from a cash flow and value perspective. Now, the other thing that I like to bring up, I'm not really a tax guy. I'm driven on alpha. I'm really driven on total return. But when you start looking at a QOZ investment and tax efficiencies, we've really done our homework here. Because of the project and because of what it is, we get significant depreciation. I'm going to have to defer to your accountant to look at it, but basically our calculations show that just about every dollar you're going to earn over the 10 years is going to be covered by depreciation. So basically net, you're going to be getting tax-free income based upon your current situations. I guess I have to put that up there. And the QOZ obviously protects the overall capital gain scenario for the investment. So there's 2 different tax looks: your current income, which will be hedged out or covered by your depreciation allowance, and then your capital gains will be covered by the QOZ portion. So when you add all this up, it's an extremely tax efficient investment in a very strong market. And it's, to me and my partners, we see this as almost I think we've termed the term accidental QOZ. We're not QOZ developers. There are some developers who just go out there and do QOZ. That's what they do. We don't. We are driven on the best product in the best location for the best reasons for the best return. This just so happens to be QOZ on top of that. And so that's why we're so excited about it.
Gotcha. That was really interesting what you said. You're alpha driven, but this also just happens to be in an opportunity zone. So you wrapped it into a qualified opportunity fund. I love
it's got all the alpha you would want in a real estate project like this, but but great beta to go along with it. So
yeah, and the tax efficiency is second to none. Pass through depreciation to the LPs, and then the no capital gains tax liability on the way out, and depreciation recapture is eliminated under the OZ structure as well. All very enticing there. Anything else you can tell us about this deal or about the project? What about the general contractor? I know you're working with with a
Well,
good
we have
contractor count?
we have one of the world's largest contractors as our general contractor, Obayashi Webcor. Obayashi is based out of Japan. They purchased a very large contractor a few years ago called Webcor, one of the top performing contractors here in Silicon Valley and the West Coast. And they're our general contractor. So all of our costing's done with them. So they're on board. And we have 11-year bond financing. And our joint venture partner is a very large public REIT investing, over $90 million alongside us as well. So it's really a best of class real estate investment, and this is a great opportunity for investors to get into what would typically be a project that was be totally by Wall Street driven firms. So this kind of project to be offered to individual investors through platforms like yourself, with the OpportunityDB, is something we like to do. It's kind of democratization of investment grade real estate.
I think that's well put, Dennis. And we have set up a landing page for OpportunityDB subscribers and any viewers of this presentation today. If you want to learn more about this particular project and get in touch with Dennis and his team and request additional information, you can head to OpportunityDB.com/AR. That's OpportunityDB.com/AR. We've got it pulled up on the screen for you now, so you can take a look. If it looks like that, you're in the right spot. Dennis, any other words you'd like to leave us with today?
Well, first of all, thank you. Second, if anybody's interested, please reach out to us through your channel. We're more than happy to send you the offering memorandum that I've been using here for charts and graphs, so you can review that at your own leisure. And we'd be happy to answer in your questions. As you can tell, we're pretty much WYSIWYG. What you see is what we get. We're more than happy to talk you through it. If it fits, it's great. Welcome aboard. If not, that's fine too. We're really happy with what we're doing here.
Perfect. Thanks for joining me today, Dennis. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Cheers.